Hello, hello. Welcome back to AVX Live. We actually took a week off last week, so you may not remember me. I'm Joe Gilderson, President of Corporate Audiovisual Services, and I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Ryan Finch.
Everybody remembers you. Come on. Come on now. You're everywhere.
I mean, we took a week off, Ryan.
We did take a week off. It was much needed, too, and I feel really good about it. So.
Basking in the sun. No, we were not. We were not basking in the sun. I don't know if we actually saw sunlight last week. We were running from event to event, so we had to put AVX on hold for a week.
Indeed. Well, it's good to be back.
We are back and very excited. We have a great guest today. Can't wait. I am going to learn so many new words today and so many new things. I can't even tell you how excited I am. But before we get that far, Mr. Finch, let's see if you can remember your role in today's video podcast.
Oh, I remember all right, because I remember that we are streaming live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and we're doing so because it is Wednesday, specifically at 1 o'clock. Almost every Wednesday at 1 o'clock. And yeah, while you're there, you can drop us a comment. You can be part of the show. You can ask questions live. We're doing it live. You might as well. And you should also share. You should like. You should smash the subscribe button, as Joe likes to hear me say. There you go. And of course, if you missed the show or you watch the replays, you can also see some bite-sized snippets, some shark bites, as our friend Andrew Castellano would say, on Instagram and on Facebook for some highlight moments. So, Joe, I think I got them all. I think I remembered my part.
That was actually pretty good. Pretty good.
Boom.
Normally, he tries to, mess me up here and there.
I do try to mess you up. It's fun.
We actually went straight and narrow today. That's pretty good. Pretty good. I like that.
You're welcome.
It's kind of like, when Artie asked me to play drums on a song at midnight last week, and then he told me a song I didn't actually know. So he said, it's just straight. Just go straight. So we did. That's the way it is. But enough about Artie. Were we talking about Artie?
We were,
no.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about our guest. I think that might make a little bit more sense.
Smart.
So, Mr. Finch, I want to tell you a little bit about our guest, Melissa Andrieux. Melissa Andrieux, ESQ, is the Chief Diversity Officer, Chair of the Diversity and Inclusion Council, and Chief Client Relations Officer at Dorf and Nelson, LLP. As a leading diversity, equity, and inclusion professional, Ms. Andrieux is regularly called upon to speak on this important subject. She was recently featured in 914 Inc. magazine in an issue devoted to diversity, equity, and inclusion, where she discusses the importance of DEI in Westchester County and beyond. What a great article that was, too. Sorry, I went off cue. In fact, this October, Melissa will be speaking at I'm going to call it the CHIPS 2022 Global Summit in San Francisco, where she will discuss the legal industry's efforts to increase and advance diversity and the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion within a law firm. Ms. Andrieux is active in the Westchester County business community as an active part of the Business Council of Westchester. She presently serves as an ambassador to the Business Council of Westchester, where she assists and guides new members through the first year of their membership. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our guest, Melissa Andrieux.
Wow, what a great introduction.
How did he do on the pronunciation, I have to know?
How did I do?
Oh my God, Joe, you were perfect, like a Frenchman. Thank you so much.
Parlez-vous français? Oui, oui, mademoiselle.
Oh no, you've created a monster, a French monster.
Love it.
Again, that's really all I have, but I use it as often as possible.
You did so well. I'm so impressed.
Well, Melissa,
Wow,
it's really great to have you. We actually just met up networking the other day, right? And lo and behold, here we are. What, just 2 weeks later?
Best of business, September 8th.
That was a pretty good day. Joe, what was happening then?
They were just handing out awards.
Left and right.
Like, you get an award, you get an award, you get an award. It was pretty good.
It was pretty
It
good.
was fun. It was fun. I got to meet Ryan and the team. I don't think I met you, Joe. You must have been buzzing around. I don't know.
I don't know what I was doing. Who knows?
Who knows?
But it was a great night for all, I think, though.
Yeah.
And, 914 Inc. does a great job, and the team over there, Sam and Jennifer and the whole crew. They're really great.
And to plug Dorphin Nelson, we won an award too for best business law. So yeah,
Fantastic. Fantastique.
Oh, okay. All right. Easy now. Easy. Joe's going to have a French translator up in the background.
Yeah. I have another eye going right now. So,
Now, Melissa, do you speak French?
I speak French, although not as well as I used to when I was a kid, and Creole because I'm Haitian.
Okay. All right.
So je parle français.
Yes.
I think we should do the entire show in French today.
I'm not that good anymore.
All right, fine. I was going to do it, but that's okay. If you're not comfortable with it, we won't do it.
Yeah. Next time we'll practice.
That's pretty impressive, though. If you have 3 different languages going, that's pretty good. You
too, though. You have Spanish.
I don't really know what I say half the time.
Well, you fake it really well then.
And that is important. Yes, I'm actually pretty good at faking things like that. Yes.
You had me convinced.
I was on the line with the guy from Portugal yesterday. He was great. I used the 4 words I still remember, and we're like buddies now. So
you speak many languages or snippets of
I speak one in particular, but we're not going to discuss that on this show. So listen, I think you should describe in your own words what DEI is and why it's so important, among other things, in the business community, because I think there's a lot of confusion about what DEI is. So please.
So let me start off by describing what DEI actually stands for. And I do this because I was at an event a few months ago and I said DEI. And one of the people next to me said, "What is DEI?" Now, I was shocked, especially in this day and age. So for viewers who may not know what DEI stands for, it's diversity, equity, and inclusion. And to me, diversity means appreciation of differences in thoughts, ideas, backgrounds, and life experiences. Equity is recognizing that not everyone comes from the same place, right? So we have to make sure that everyone has a seat at the table and their voices are heard. And inclusion means a sense of belonging, right? We want people from different backgrounds, experiences, and identities to feel welcomed as decision makers. So that in a nutshell is what those 3 words or 3 letters mean to me.
Okay. Well, and that's very helpful. Joe, I was waiting to see it on a banner, and so I'm glad that you didn't disappoint there.
Yeah.
So there we go. It was very well put, Melissa. And how long has this been a topic of focus for you in particular?
So for me, because I'm a woman, a lawyer of color, it's always been important and of interest to me. However, until a few years ago, it wasn't something that I really felt comfortable addressing, right? I mean, recently we've had all the social justice issues coming about, and people are more comfortable voicing how they feel about, their position in life and how they've been treated. It's always been an issue as a lawyer on Long Island. It's been sometimes I'm the only person of color in a courtroom or at a deposition or something like that. So it's always been something that I've had to live with in my career. And recently, because I've become the DEI, the Chief Diversity Officer of Dorphin, I felt so much more comfortable voicing my opinion and making how I feel known to, the community, the people that I work with, and things like that.
Well, that certainly makes sense from my end. It's almost like the role is empowering to, that what you have to say and what you have to contribute there is valid and necessary.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's the distinguishing that with a title is what grants that kind of that empowerment. Now, to the second part of Joe's question is as it relates to the business community, as opposed to the other, facets of society, how does DEI, how does that play in? How are businesses, dealing with it? Obviously, your firm has elected to have a person who's really, running things from that regard. But how is the business community at large handling this or dealing with this?
Well, it's important in the business community because it's the right thing to do. And the firms or companies that are not embracing it, I think they're really doing themselves a disservice. DEI is important because it gives people, from a business standpoint, it increases your revenue, it increases your sales, it decreases turnover. And a lot of the a lot of consumers and customers now, they demand diversity from their vendors, and they're getting more picky, and they're more apt to voice their opinion that, well, I'm not going to spend my money on a vendor who's not, embracing DEI. So it's something that is very important to the community. It's very important to the business community at large. And for those firms that are not really embracing it, I really think that they're doing themselves a disservice.
Well, that's great and well said once again. I wonder if we could get a little deeper into, when you're saying that it's good for business, right? Because I think that's probably where a lot of business people start and end, unfortunately, is, well, it's got to be good for business. So could you expand on that just a little further?
It's good for business because, you don't want a homogenous workforce too, right? Diversity brings different thoughts, different ideas to the table. If you have one type of person working at a business, you're going to have one type of product going out. You're not going to have the innovation. You're not going to have the differences in ideas. Like, I come from a different place than you. For example, if we work together, right? You would have a different opinion. You're a man, I'm a woman, and our ideas are completely different, and it'll give the customer, the client, something else to consider. And they appreciate that because not everybody thinks the same way. And you want to include all types of clients and customers in your business. You don't want to exclude certain customers or clients because of your philosophy against DEI.
Absolutely. I think that makes complete sense. One area I think that is something that we've at least noticed, and how we're responding to that is a separate thing. But one thing that we've noticed is just that I would say somewhere around 90% of our clients, the people we're actually dealing with, are women,
right?
Whereas we come from a very male-dominated industry.
Mm-hmm.
And so, to your points of being able to offer different perspectives and have that unique perspective that unfortunately we can't have that, right? So I mean, there's a little piece of connection that I can certainly make there, but no, that all makes sense.
I mean, you don't want people to turn away from your business because they think that you're not going to understand them. You want people to come to you and see themselves in, your employees, feel comfortable speaking with the employees about what they want. And it's just comfort level, and they will keep coming back to you.
Now, do you think that is more prevalent in a big city or a big market like a New York, Chicago, San Francisco, Miami, or is Middle America actually thinking the same way? I think that would be one of those things that's interesting to me.
I think you might find, customers maybe not going to certain vendors. I think that might happen more in big cities, because in small cities you might have like the Piggly Wiggly, and that's the only place.
There's probably no other choices, right?
I don't know why
I don't really like them, but I got to go here anyways.
I don't know why that came to mind, but I love the Piggly Wiggly. But if you only have a certain amount of places to choose from, you're going to end up going to shop there, regardless of what their stance is on DEI. But here in a place like New York or California, people can say, well, I'm going to choose not to go to this particular store because they don't embrace me or people that I know. And so I can go somewhere else. And you know what? The way that America is built, or the big cities, there are so many choices right now that you don't have to settle. And people are really choosing where they're spending their money. So big business needs to be, fully aware of that. They're going to lose clientele if they're not forward thinking.
Well, it all makes sense when you think about it from the perspective of, are they like me? Right? And if the answer is no, then you're less likely to spend time.
Right.
I think it just makes a lot of sense. I know in my particular, in my personal life, I go to two different churches because my daughter goes to one, but I don't like going to that one. I prefer the other one because I don't really know. I don't feel as comfortable in that environment. And it's just that simple. And I think your point is well taken, because I think Maybe we overcomplicate things sometimes and we don't have to.
We never used to think like that before. We just accepted everything that this was it. But now people are just more conscious of DEI and embracing the notion of it. So it's making us a better world, and it's something that has to be purposeful. You can't just say, hey, I'm going to do DEI, I'm going to implement practices. It's something that you have to work at and really embrace. And I always say, if you don't have buy-in from leadership, especially in a company, it's never going to work. And luckily here at Dorphin, we have two great partners that really embraced DEI long before I got here. So it worked out for me.
Well, that's a good thing. And I actually met both of the partners at that event last week.
Did you?
I did. So
John Dorf and John Nelson.
I know you guys are doing really great things over there, and you're definitely at the front of how things are moving, and that's really important. You know, as I was reading your bio, I read like 4 different titles over there. So maybe you can tell me about your various roles at Dorf and Nelson.
I wear many hats, and they keep multiplying day by day. So I started out as a litigator, attorney. Right now, I'm not so much practicing litigation right now. I'm focusing on my role as the Chief Diversity Officer of the firm. And what that entails is I implement and I oversee the firm's diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. Stemming from that, we formed the Diversity and Inclusion Council, which I chair. And it's actually a really good group because it's comprised of diverse employees, attorneys, and administrative staff of all different backgrounds. We don't exclude. So we have 6 or 7 members at this point, and we meet regularly and we discuss the culture of the firm. We discuss what's going on in their lives because, right, everybody, you don't just live at the office, you have real lives outside and things are going on, and which may impact, your work life. So we discuss what's going on in their personal lives, what's going on at the firm, and we come up with initiatives and recommendations to further the inclusive nature of the firm. So that's 2. I also do some recruitment. I've been asked to join the hiring committee, which is really an honor because what we were talking about before, diversity, when you're hiring, I bring a different perspective to how these candidates present themselves. So my 2 cents gets added to the executive committee and we come to a consensus as to who is a great candidate for the firm. And what is my last role? I do business development, which is how I was at Best of Business, where I met you guys. Well, not Joe.
Not
I met Ryan.
No,
the better half.
I met Ryan, my fellow cover.
I know.
Cover person for Inc. So business development.
There you go. Of course, it was going to show up. Classic.
We have to get, expand on our 15 minutes of fame here.
I'm exhausted. We're at minute number 16. I think I'm ready for it to be over. But
so
it's
am
okay.
I.
So kind of like all of my roles it was a natural fit for me to do business development. And I wasn't initially interested in business development until I got to know the ins and outs of the firm. And it piqued my interest. And naturally, I fell in love with business development. I love meeting new people, going to events. And I also forgot to say I'm the Chief Client Relations Officer. So that kind of works with the business development aspect. And as the Chief Client Relations Officer, I'm kind of like the first point of contact with the firm and the attorneys, or meeting new and potential new clients, existing clients. So I kind of like answer their questions. I direct them to the right attorney. I'm their direct line of direct communication to whoever.
Well, and that certainly makes a lot of sense, just going back to what you were saying earlier, right? Is that in your world, you have a lot of exposure to all of these differing, thought processes, different experiences, different backgrounds. So you being the at the forefront of all of these, potential clients, that certainly makes sense, for a lot of different reasons, right? Is you'd be able to connect to a lot of different people a lot easier than say someone with a limited background and limited exposure to all of this. So that makes sense. I am curious what, you're doing a lot, right? What does an average day look like for you? Are you spending some time in, say, HR, and then you're going to go down the hallway to, to your desk, and then, do some sales or development work, and or what is that? What is an average day, or is there an average day for you, Melissa?
So there is no average day. I was warned before I took on these roles that it is not like being a lawyer where you have your assignment, you have your task, you do it, you bill your hours, and you're gone. Every day here is just completely different. I can come in with a plan and then it just goes out the window. So we have an executive director, so I don't really deal too much with the quote unquote HR stuff. But I do since I do recruitment and I do interview the candidates, I do the welcoming spiel with everybody. I let them know about the firm. We take their pictures so that we can do the announcements. And I just kind of introduce them to the firm. Then if there are networking events on the calendar, I have to get my head around where I'm going, how I'm going to get there, who's going with me. And that pretty much works with setting up meetings with new or potential clients, because I'm the person, I'm the contact. And then I have to determine who within the firm is the appropriate person to sit in on these meetings, which specific department. So that really takes a big chunk of my time. Plus, social media.
Well, when you're a
Social
star,
media.
I
Yeah.
mean,
It has to be there, right? You got to spend that time.
Yes.
That's digital networking, right?
I love it. Yeah.
So, Joe, when people in the office are browsing Facebook, that's digital networking.
It
is that what they're doing?
I think Marissa Madonia from our office. No, Melissa, do you know Marissa? I think
I
you
met
at
her.
the same
Yes,
time as
I
me.
did.
She does a lot of digital networking, and I mean that seriously. She is everywhere, and honestly, it makes a
she's digitally networking.
she's probably sitting there making a face at you right now.
I can't
It's a
see her.
thing.
Right now.
It's a real thing. You can network with people so far beyond New York. It's not even funny anymore. I'm a real proponent of it.
And that actually is bringing us towards a later question, which I'm not going to get into just yet, but the value of what we're doing right now and having conversations digitally and using technology to help make that world a little bit smaller. And I'm sure that's going to have an impact on DEI and what that means to other, potentially underserved areas of the country from that regard. But there's a time for that question, and it is not right now, because we have another
There's a
question.
time and a place. I guess I'm just interested to know how you first got started out in this field, more than anything else, because you've obviously, you're flourishing in this, but how'd you get started? How does anybody get started in this,
Well, for my story, like I said, I went to law school. I went to the district attorney's office straight out of law school in Queens. Shout out to Queens. I did that for a couple of years. Then I transitioned to civil litigation. I did that for very many years. And I ended up at Dorphin Nelson in 2018. And I wasn't really feeling litigation, but I didn't know what the heck to do with my life. I had gone to law school, had law school bills and loans and everything. So I'm like, okay, let me just plow through. And then I had this light bulb moment where I'm like, I can't really do this anymore. I'm not enjoying it. I'm not fulfilled. So I went to speak to John Dorf and John Nelson, and unbeknownst to me, they wanted to hire a dedicated DEI professional for the firm. And I talked to them about what the role entailed, and I asked if, I could do it. I mean, I had never done DEI, never done anything other than litigation. And after making sure that this was something that I really wanted to do, they said, okay, we'll give you a shot. We'll let you run with it. And that's kind of how I got started. But then after I got the role, the position, I didn't know what the heck I had to do because I had never done anything like that before. So it was kind of like a grassroots movement for me. I started at the bottom. I basically got in contact with as many DEI professionals in Westchester that I could find. And I met with them and I picked their brain and I studied. I kind of crammed just to find out what different businesses are doing with respect to DEI, what works, what doesn't. And I got involved with the BCW, and that opened my network. I met more people, spoke to them about what they're doing, what they're not doing at their businesses. And that's kind of how I got started. And it just snowballed from there. And I think John Dorf and John Nelson would say that they're really happy that they gave me the shot.
Well, I mean, something's working, right? You're being recognized in 914 Inc. I mean,
Yeah.
when it's working, and I think everybody can can appreciate that. But it's interesting that we talk about using your network, right? Your network is your net worth.
Yeah.
But in this case, two interesting points. A, that you use your network as the what?
So, I mean, you're pulling out all the cheesy lines.
The
here,
buzzwords.
I know, but I don't like buzzwords.
He does not like buzzwords, Melissa.
I'm
sorry.
anti-buzzwords.
Okay.
But anyway, your network is your net worth, and
Yeah.
your attitude determines your altitude. That one I just,
That's a good one.
snuck in there. No, but
Go more.
I think that's. I also think it is a. Can you talk about the move that you like? Was there anxiety in I'm going to go talk to the partners and tell them I'm not happy, and not
Yes.
knowing that it was going to lead to something that that suited you so well? I mean, what is that wave of emotion like?
That is such a good question. And yes, there was anxiety because I had never done any marketing, networking. I hated networking. I got to be honest with you. It was not my forte. And a lot of people doubted me. They were like, you do not have the personality to network. How are you going to market? How are you going to be business development? So
Wow.
I had a lot of anxiety, not only in going to speak with them, but internally, I'm like, I don't want to fail. I do not like failing. But the alternative is continuing to go on a path that does not make you happy.
Right.
And I had done that for so long that I just could not do it anymore. So yeah, a lot of anxiety, a lot of sleepless nights because I was scared to just say it out loud.
Right. 'Cause you can't unsay the words.
Right.
Like once they're out, and then it's let the chips fall where they may.
It's kind of like saying, "Is your network your network?"
Stop. Gosh, he's just. Anyway, well, honestly, kudos, because that is a really difficult move to make, and I think it's also a testament to being willing to take the plunges, because you may end up in a better scenario that you didn't know was one of the outcomes. You never really know all of the outcomes that are possible. And so if you're just willing to commit and take the plunge, then, I think that's a really nice example. We did get a question from the audience, a fellow digital networker that you might know recently. Are there any misconceptions that you'd like to correct when it comes to DEI?
What about and side note?
Well, she's got a side note in there. She does a lot of digital networking and she loves every minute of it. Yeah.
Misconceptions that you'd like to correct when it comes to DEI. Well, I think one of the misconceptions, and I don't know if it's the right word to use, but just because you have DEI initiatives or practices doesn't mean that you have to hire or bring into your company candidates who are diverse. Even if this doesn't make sense, you do not have to bring in diverse candidates just for the sake of having diversity at your organization. I think a misconception is you just hire anybody who's diverse that fits your
Like
quota.
shoehorning people into a role.
Yes, that does not make DEI work. You need to have the right fit also. Just because the person is diverse doesn't mean they're going to be the right fit at your organization or they're going to be the right vendor for you. So I think a lot of people equate DEI with you have to hire people of color. You have to hire women. You have to hire people of the LGBTQIA community. You hire them or you engage with them if they are qualified for your company, your business.
So, and I'll ask a follow-up to that, because I think it is, that is spot on, at least in terms of what my understanding was from it. But, for say a smaller business, right, that may have limited, applicants that may have only a small amount of, qualified individuals to choose from for any given role. And who also don't have the time necessarily to go out and prospect in different, pools of different circles of candidates. How do they know if they're doing a good job or not? Like what in terms of, initiatives, how do you know if you're doing a good job? Is it just, like, I hate to say it, but is it like just don't be a bad person and exclude certain people? Because that seems easy enough. Well, if it were easy enough, everyone would do it, but apparently. Like, how do you know? How do you know if you're doing a good job then?
For Dorf and Nelson, I'll speak just to us.
Sure.
I know that we are doing a good job because we've gotten really great feedback from the people that we've dealt with, potential clients. They look at our website, they look at what we're doing out in the community, and they say, you are doing it right. You're not an AmLaw 100 firm where you have unlimited budgets, right, to do everything under the sun when it comes to DEI initiatives, but you are doing what you can with the resources that you have, and people appreciate that. They see that we're trying. If you're not trying, that's the problem, and they appreciate that. I've also spoken with a lot of candidates when I do the interviews, and they really appreciate how open and welcoming the firm is. Not only when they see me and the partners on the Zoom interviews, but they see our website, they see what we're doing in the community and at the firm, and that we are trying, and we don't want to exclude it.
That's cool. I get it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate how you describe that, right? Is that it's effort. It's an identifiable level of effort. That separates those who are doing a good job to not doing a good job. And I think that's an easy way to wrap your head around it, especially for people who this may not be this may be a new concept to them.
Right.
And I'm sure that some of those misconceptions do exist as far as, shoehorning people into a role. But like, are you trying? Right. Like, are you at least trying,
Right.
And I think that goes a long way. And I think that's well put.
And it's not that difficult to try. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And then I put my mind to it, and I'm doing it. We're not done by any means, because this is an issue that keeps evolving and you have to keep working at it. But I think, again, if you want to move forward into the future, you have got to start thinking about DEI as something really serious. DEIB, actually, because now it's belonging. So we're adding another letter into there.
Well, and I should mention, Joe is not good with the acronyms.
Yeah.
And so, just like he was pronouncing your name before, we can't give him another one. I don't know. Joe, are you okay with DEIB?
I think I'm getting there. DEIB. I think I'm getting there.
Okay.
I'm just
He
throwing
already
it
got it on
out
the banner. He's already got it on a banner. Kudos. Way to go.
I mean, I'm giving effort.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Yes. Purposeful effort.
Purposeful effort.
Yes.
See that, Ryan? You didn't think there was any hope.
Well,
come on, Ryan. Come on.
Okay. Sorry. Fine. You win.
But listen, let's take this conversation towards technology first.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yes. How do you think technology actually impacts both your work and the field?
Well, as Ryan will attest, I'm not very good with technology, which is why I logged on very early to this.
That's okay.
But your office is set up beautifully for camera. I love
Thanks
it.
to Mr. John Nelson.
I even see 914 Inc. placed on the table in the background. There we go. I didn't see. Now it's an Easter egg. Had to go looking for it.
I put that there. That was my little nod to my
Product placement.
Product placement. There we go. Oh, very nice.
But okay, so technology. When I was practicing, I guess I'll try to explain it that way. When I was practicing, technology was not really that important because pre-COVID, you go to court, you go to depositions in person, right? And after COVID hit, everything went to Zoom. And then I kind of stopped practicing and litigating. And then I came into business development, which really, I don't know, networking with technology it's like it's on steroids, because you can do so much more now that you couldn't before, right? you can meet, let's say, 4 people in a day because you're doing it virtually. Whereas before you had to go out and meet them and, drive and blah, blah, blah. Now everything is just a little bit more efficient. It's a little bit less personal, but more efficient. And that's one way that technology has helped in my new roles. And I
So
get to meet you guys and do podcasts like this.
yeah, well, this is a great way for us to meet and connect with new people and experience some new ideas. And I think what you're saying there, at least part of what you're saying there, is that you have more access, right, to more people at the same time, and technology obviously makes that easier. But I mean, does that make DEI even more important?
It does, because so what I was saying before, where with LinkedIn and all the social media platforms, you can connect with so many people that you would never even think of that you'd be able to connect with. Our message of DEI at the firm has gotten so far beyond Westchester County, and we've gotten so much feedback from people on social media about the good work that we're doing, and it's really appreciated. I've gotten some meetings with potential clients. I'm not going to say they're clients yet, but maybe potential clients, because they see the effort that we're putting, and it's so big to companies now, the DEI movement and the DEI initiatives. So the more that we put that out there, let them know what Dorf and Nelson is working on, what we're about, technology, LinkedIn, Zoom, it's all helping promote everything that we're doing out here.
Well, and I guess, on the flip side, as far as technology is concerned, and I don't know the nuances of your field and if this is something that, is a focus for you, but I'm wondering if access to technology is part of this conversation, right? Do all walks of life have the same level of access that other ones? I mean, the obvious answer is no.
Right.
Maybe that's not an area of focus here, but because on one hand you'd think, all right, technology is a leveler of sorts. It levels the playing field, right? Where on the other hand, I'm thinking, well, unless you don't have access to it. So, I mean, any thoughts as far as that's concerned?
Yeah, I mean, it's sad, but a lot of people do not have access to technology that you would think that they would, and we're living in America. But I think that for my industry, technology is not really an issue. I think in other less fortunate communities, we need to work on getting them better access to technology. And that's something that's food for thought. That's something that I'll work on. When I meet with my council, we'll talk about ways that we can go out into the community and maybe help out, maybe partner up with another organization, maybe you guys, and we can, since you are doing audiovisual, we can maybe talk about how you help. What?
Joe's got some background noise going on over there. There he goes.
So
we have a very crowded office. Go ahead, Melissa. I'm sorry.
No, so you talk about how you can help underserved communities get better access to technology. It's a conversation that I don't deal with on a daily basis, but it's something that's always, in the forefront of our minds.
Absolutely. Well, and you also just demonstrated the council in action. Now, is that maybe not typical is not the right word, but somebody has something and said, I didn't think about that before. Let me bring it to the council and discuss it as a group.
Absolutely. Again, different ideas, different perspectives. So we talk about different things that we can do to improve, not only inside the firm, but we can go out and educate the community about diversity, equity, and inclusion and belonging. It's good conversation. Like, really, if you have just one person having the same thought, nothing is original, nothing will ever get done. And that's what I love about this council, because you have so many different ideas being brought to the table. And, nobody is closed out, everybody is included. You might not necessarily have your opinion brought forth to the powers that be, but we all talk about it, we come to a consensus, and then, we take it from there.
Absolutely. Well, and one other, at least in regards to technology, that I don't want to overlook, because I think it is important, is, back in your story, in your trajectory, and how you got where you are, you originally reached out to your network, right, to learn more about DEI and to learn from the people who are in those roles, and that level of access is something that technology provided you as well. And I think that's also a point worth mentioning, because back to, in terms of being a professional and pathing yourself, using the tools that you have at your disposal. I mean, I don't know, is it like LinkedIn or just going through an old Rolodex, right, of like people that you once connected with? If I gave you a business card, I bet that it's in there right now.
I have a ton of business cards actually sitting on my desk, but technology really helped when I was trying to get my footing and learn about this new area that I was embarking on. Like, I would meet somebody and they say, I'm going to introduce you to so-and-so. And then we would set up a Zoom. We would all get together. And before people started really working with Zoom, it would take forever to get everybody on the same page or at the same location. Now it's so much easier. And it really, really helped me out. And, I have to give credit to the community out here. Everybody wants to help you. They never turn you away. It's all about having allies and mentors. And if I didn't have allies and mentors, I don't know that I'd still be here today doing this.
Well, I think we can all take a page out of that book.
Yeah.
I do have one other question for you.
Shoot.
Are there any resources that you might offer to our audience that wants to learn more about DEI? Obviously, seeing a good example of a business doing it the right way, like your firm, is a good place to start. But are there any other resources that you'd say, hey, this is another good example, or here's where you could learn more about this field?
Yeah, I think that maybe getting involved in the nonprofit sector, maybe there are a lot of these businesses that have these programs for people who want to learn about DEI. And I think that's a good way. Like, just go to Google and look those things, look up those types of maybe webinars, since everybody is like into webinars now. You could do simple webinars and you learn and you listen. There are a lot of organizations in the community that are promoting DEI. I think that's a good start. And, you can reach out to me and I can give you a little bit of some ideas about my personal journey through learning about DEI.
Well,
Nothing too specific. I don't know. Everything is Google.
Google it.
Google it.
I think Google gets you information, and then you need to make the connection with people.
Make the connection. Yeah.
And that's what you've proven, as you're talking about, both using technology and using a network, and then getting out there in person, which is an interesting balance.
Yeah.
Because you don't usually hear of a lawyer kind of doing all of these things.
I know. It's fun.
It's more fun than the whole law thing, right?
Yes. I mean, my gosh, my world opened up once I started not litigating. It's crazy because you develop a whole new personality. At least for me, I was described as an introvert, and now I think I'm kind of like an extrovert. I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't have pegged you as an introvert.
Oh, I was. But it's, a lot of lawyers, they don't pivot. They don't shift. They think that they have to stay in the same role forever, and they could be miserable doing it. But there are options. Believe you me, there are options out there. You just have to be ready to take the leap, and that's what I did.
Well, and it seems to have worked out. So I think that's a nice testament to what you're saying here.
Yeah. And another piece of advice I'll give is reach out to people. Like, if you really want to learn about DEI, reach out. People are not going to turn you away. They might not give you like 30 minutes to an hour, but they will give you 15 minutes. I have found that people really want to help others, particularly those who are interested in DEI, because it's everywhere. And that's like the main topic right now that's going on in the world.
Absolutely. Well, and if I could add one thing from something that I learned directly from you, if you're not sure of where to start, just try. Just try. It seems very simple because it is. You can just care and try. I might add care and then try, but caring should be inherent.
Yeah, you have to love what you're doing too, which I do.
Well, that comes through.
Yeah, I try.
I think we're all getting that.
Yeah.
There's no question. This is not just 15 minutes of fame. You seem to be the real deal. That's what I'm
I
getting.
hope so. Thank you, Joe.
Well, next time we'll meet up in a networking session, because I need to improve my net worth. So I'm thinking My
Ah,
altitude is all resting on my attitude. Is that what you said,
What?
Finch?
attitude, altitude. Yeah, your attitude determines your altitude. I can just spew out buzzwords all day long.
Please, no more.
I
Please.
know
I
he
learned
hates it
so
when I do
much
this.
today.
I'm sorry for what you might have learned from us, but we sure learned a lot of worthwhile information from you.
Absolutely. Mr. Finch, it looks like we might have we have one more comment here.
We do. I don't know where this quote comes from, but build diverse teams and embody your organization's values of inclusivity at every level of your company.
That's beautiful. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she
Well,
didn't. She
I
didn't
think
give a byline there, but I
You
think that
have
was well
to,
said.
right. You can't just have diversity in one area of the firm or organization. It has to be at all levels because people want to see diversity at the top and at the bottom and in the middle. It has to be everywhere. And again, purposeful.
so. This makes complete sense. Complete sense. I think this was really a great discussion today, Melissa. And we appreciate all of your time. I mean, it's not that often that we get, someone with so much fame on our show. So
Wait,
But-
wrong
Oh
one.
my
Boom!
God.
There it is.
look at this. I mean, the cover. Wow, this is awesome.
Well,
What a
that's
great
not
article.
the cover. That's the centerfold.
Do you have a
actually.
copy
Oh,
of the cover? Because
well.
we went looking for it quickly, and I didn't find it.
Do I?
I know you
Of
have
course
it. I know
do.
you have it. Of
Of
course you
course
do.
I do.
And it was on the top. Oh yeah. There it is. Hold on.
I
Wait.
absolutely
There we
know
go.
that issue.
We
Yes.
do actually, and I see another friend of this
Uh-huh.
show.
No, here.
There we are. Yep.
Yeah.
Elena.
Wow.
I know we have that issue here, and I don't know where it is right now, but I saw you on that. You are world famous now.
In Westchester.
I refer to Westchester as the world, so you're world famous.
Oh my God. People are going to think I'm so narcissistic over this.
Melissa, there's a long history of Joe pumping up the 15 minutes of fame and stretching out every nanosecond of it. So,
Oh my God.
you just
I don't know what you're
Oh,
talking
look at
about.
that.
I can actually take him. I can just drop him right out of the show, and
Look
then
at that.
that would be that.
I know, but I can
Front
still
and
log back in.
center.
Either way, Melissa, this was great today. I don't want to get charged per hour from Dorf. I mean, so I don't want to take up too much more time.
She's gonna do her
But,
billing afterwards, and it's coming right
I don't-
to you.
I know I'm a little nervous.
No, she doesn't bill anymore. She doesn't practice. We talked about that very early.
I
No,
practice
okay.
a little bit, but I don't bill.
Okay, deal.
We'll say
Okay,
that.
because I don't want to get billed for each one of your job titles either. Like
Man.
that.
Oh, I don't know if you saw that. He did ask you the
That
question. I
sounds
don't know if there's
expensive.
three paychecks for 3 titles. I don't know.
I'm just saying.
I mean, I
I'm
gave
asking
myself
for-
my title at Corporate AV. Maybe I'll add a few more titles, and then Joe, we could put that to the test. What do you say?
I'll have to
I think
talk
I'm
to
getting a
Mr.
bad
Dorf
internet
now
connection here.
About that. Mr. Dorphin Nelson about that. But you know what? All kidding aside,
Yeah.
even though I do wear many hats, they're kind of all intertwined.
Of course.
And it's all fun. It's all good. And we're just making this place a better environment for everyone.
Absolutely.
So it was lovely meeting you
That is
both.
awesome.
I enjoyed the conversation.
Likewise.
And if you need me again, let me know.
Oh, there we go.
Definitely will. Well,
Yes.
thank you very much, Melissa.
All right.
Thank
You
you,
have
Melissa.
a great day, and Ryan and I are going to wrap up over here.
Nice. See ya.
Bye now.
See you
Bye.
later.
All right.
Ryan, she is so much more interesting to talk to than you. I'm just saying. Well,
I was gonna leave
Ryan
you
has
hanging.
gone to do something to himself, but he has
Well,
left
no,
the
that
building.
was a great conversation, and it's a new topic for the show, and maybe one that should have came a little sooner. But I'm glad that we were able to have it, and we had obviously a very qualified person in Melissa to speak on it. So I thought it was a good conversation, and I appreciated
Absolutely. And I think, I think one of the things that she pointed out very quickly was that, having a diverse group of people and including everyone is actually good for business. I think it's very simple just to think of it from you're dealing with many perspectives and many different, ideas and creativity. And that doesn't just belong to any one group. That belongs to everybody.
Right.
So she was excellent. And I think we can all learn a great deal from Melissa. But Mr. Finch, we're going to have to wrap this show up.
Yeah.
So tell people how they can find us and where they can find us.
You can find us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube Live. You can do that on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock, almost every Wednesday. Almost every Wednesday at 1 o'clock. And then while you're there, you can drop us a comment. You can be part of the show. Like we had some wonderful comments today and some contributions from the viewer audience. And if you miss it, you can watch it in bite-sized pieces on Facebook and on Instagram afterwards. So check that out. And of course, whatever channel you're watching, whether it's the recording or the bite-sized pieces, you should like, comment, share, and subscribe. Show us some love. It's much appreciated and makes us feel like we're doing this for a reason. So please do it. Also, yeah, I think that's it. I think I ran out of things.
That's all you got.
I tried to double back to mess you up. I messed myself up. That's it.
No, you nailed them. You did a great job. Fine work today. It was a pleasure having you back after our week off.
Likewise. How about another week
Mr.
off? What do you
Finch,
say?
we got to go back to work.
Okay, fine.
We're wrapping it up. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week. Finch, take us out. Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao.
And stay golden, pony boy. I'm going to keep doing it every time. Bye.